Okay, to demonstrate the basic, simple, naive methods and the average method, okay, we're going to use the data from boulder.xlsx file that comes with the book. And this data is about temperature, the average temperature in a month, okay, for different months. And we have data going from 1991 through 2008. Okay. And obviously, temperature is a seasonal data and it varies in predictable ways month after month. And so seasonal models can be checked out with a seasonal data like this. And usually in demand forecasting, we will have sales as the data that we would like to forecast. But your textbook uses the temperature data, and we will use this data to illustrate what we're talking about. Okay, so now first thing to do is to develop a time series plot. So we'll plot temperature on the y-axis and the year in the x-axis, and the same year number is repeating, so we will use line graph for this. So we want to graph, your textbook graphs only 91 through 94 to check. If you graph the entire data set, you'll see the same kind of pattern. So let's go from 91 through 94, end of 94, like that. Okay, so we'll do a line graph, okay, like that one. Okay, and our x-axis is going to be, so select data and enter the x-axis labels, which will be that. Okay, so now we can add axis titles. So this will be months. That's the average temperature. Okay, and we can see the seasonal pattern very clearly in this time series plot. And we can also graph each individual year as a separate line. Okay, like one line for 1991 January through December, one line for 1992 January through December, and so on. Or we can graph all the Januaries from 1991 to 94, all the Februaries from 1991 to 1994, and so on. And to do that, we need to first organize the data with month and year. So we can do that using a pivot table. So we will highlight, okay, we've done pivot table before, so we're going to highlight 1991, including the label, through 1994. Okay, like that. So we have the data highlighted. Insert pivot table. So the data appears over there. And let's put the pivot table, the existing sheet, and we'll start from right here. Okay, like that. Okay. So now let's see if we want to put the months in rows. So here in columns, and the temperature as the values. So here some will be okay because for each combination of month and year there is only one observation. So sum of that observation is that value itself. So the table will give you the data organized by month and year, which will look like this. Okay, we'll call that average temperature. Okay, let's format the table a little bit. Okay, so now we want to draw a graph. Okay, so select the pivot table and we can insert select the table and go to pivot chart, click pivot chart. Okay, now we want a line chart. Okay, so when you do a line chart, so you have, okay, you can see what kind of line chart we'll get. So we have one line for each year going from January through December on the x-axis, and that will do. Okay, so we'll select that and we'll place that here. Okay, and as you can see, the average temperature in different years, and so year after year there is no difference in terms of what happens from one year to the next year, but then within a year there is a clear up and down. So that's our seasonality. We can very clearly see the seasonality here, and the different years they are all bunching up together, but across the different months in any given year the kind of change is similar. So this is a very clear case of seasonality. Okay, now we will have to now come up with forecasts.